Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. It's the Two Dads Review podcast. We are here back with the second episode of American Horror Story Cult. It has been an interesting past couple days for us with this episode. My name is Clay. I'm one of the dads on this podcast. My other co-host and hetero life mate is on the other side of the mic. It goes by the name of Corey. You can find him online as, what is it?
Slothbear35 or Slothbear, but it's mostly Slothbear35. You can find me anywhere. Miss Sarah Paulson found me on Twitter. So that was an interesting experience, which was talking about our little giddy moment we had. We commented on the episode and she replied and we had a little back and forth, and
we're hoping she's listening.
Yeah, we're hoping she'll end up listening to it. You know, I told her to check it out, and she gave the green light that she would. So hopefully she actually, checks it out and whatnot. I think it was really cool. But there was a funny Twitter interaction between us all. You guys can check it out on Two Dads Review or Slothbear35. That'll link you to pretty much everything, or obviously Miss Sarah's Twitter, because there's far, far, far more people there that liked and agreed with everything she was saying.
And we want to say welcome to Miss Paulson if she is listening. We want to thank you for tuning in real quick just to hear us talk about you. It was a fun interaction. It kept both of us up well past midnight on the
sleep.
East Coast.
I watched the sun come up. I was excited.
You were way too excited. You were doing your cookie breathing.
Man. I was like, I can't handle her crying all episode, man. But that was super, super awesome. I really, really, totally dug that she was out there and interacting with her fans. Like, that was super sweet. It was super awesome, and I don't care. It was a shining moment in my life, and I was totally, totally, totally enjoying it.
It was pretty awesome. So that was our fun little news for the past 24 hours. We were up too late and way too tired the next morning with the kids, because I went to bed way too late trying to just see what was going to happen with that Twitter feed.
Yeah, I just made a pot of coffee at like 4 a.m. and was like, might as well just stay awake and and roll.
Right. So that aside, let's go through a couple of things first. Thank you to all who have found our podcast. Thank you all who have been here from the beginning since the Game of Thrones season 7 portion of the podcast, and thank you to all the new listeners who are just tuning in for the first time this episode. I'm trying to get, I know I'm a mid to late 30s man trying to navigate the waters of Twitter and Facebook when it comes to where to put this so people that enjoy American Horror Story can see it. So bear with me. I appreciate those who have found it. If you like this, share it. If you don't like it, share it anyways with all your friends you think might like this, because we just need to get the word out about this podcast.
Or give it to all your enemies. That's fine too.
That's right. Anybody you hate, let them know about it. Be like, you're going to love this. Try this out. You can find us at twodadsreview.com. There is the link to all the locations you can listen to us: iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher, TuneIn. We also have a YouTube channel. Just search for Two Dads Review. I put the podcast up there as well, just so in case you guys are at work and just want to pull up YouTube and just listen. All it is a picture on there. You're not like you're going to see any sort of video. Not yet. We keep getting a couple of requests, but we're not there yet. We can barely get this recording to go right.
Yeah, I think, and plus we'd probably need to invest in a little bit more if we're going to try some video for some people and stuff later down the road, but it'll be worth it.
At least makeup and something for both of us, big time.
Yeah. Like, how do you not reflect like the moon?
Like, not when
I'm
we're
just
both bald.
Way too pale.
Oh man, yeah. So you can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Tumblr, all under Two Dads Review. Just search for Two Dads Review, either as 3 words or 1 word. You'll find us. It's not a big deal. And so before we jump into the episode, Corey, I know you went and saw It this weekend.
Oh yes, I
totally
forgot about that. Good, yes. So I saw It, and it was a fantastic movie. It's a good homage to the original film. Skarsgård brother plays a fantastic Pennywise. He nails it. I don't think you could have asked for anything more out of Pennywise in the film. He has made it his own. It's a unique interpretation with great throwbacks to the original Pennywise with Mr. Curry's character. It was pretty sweet. The movie itself is great,
Curry, but you can be just as good.
What I think it's just as good personally, but it's one of those things where it's like 1A and 1B because the clowns are similar in name alone, I feel like. But he made Pennywise his own version of Pennywise.
Nice.
And it's a good version of Pennywise. And the whole film, beginning to end, is good. There's no real slow parts. It is a longer film, especially for a horror movie. So that was a little bit of a trip because I was like, man, I'm almost like watching Lord of the Rings at this point, I feel like.
Well, considering the first movie was like a 2-part, like 3-hour one per, it was a long like TV movie, the very first It.
Yes.
So, and I haven't seen it yet, but I watched a lot of reviews on it, so I know that like they haven't even done the adult portion of it yet. It's just the kid portion.
So this is just the beginning when they kind of all put it all together of like what's going on in the town and without any real spoilers, but it gives you the whole breakdown of what Pennywise is all about. And then at the very end of the movie, they kind of do the whole like, let's make a pack and, we're always here together for each other. But it was a great film. Like I recommend everybody go check it out, especially that of horror people. The whole box office record piece is totally justified. It's not just a whole bunch of people went to go see the movie because it was It. I mean, I think that was part of the case, but I think it's really carrying its own. Like I think this is going to go down as probably one of the better horror films, definitely this year. But in general, films in general, it was a really good movie.
And this was rated R, right?
Yes, yeah, because as many times as the young man from Stranger Things drops the F-bomb in the film, there's no way it is not.
Nice. Well, hey, I know they dropped it 4 times on the first episode of American Horror Story, so I don't even know what's what anymore.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know what with the time and everything when it's okay to be an adult and when it's not.
Exactly. So anything else about It you want to bring up?
No, it was, I don't want to, because if I talk about it, I'm going to end up giving something away, and I don't want to do that to anybody. So just go see it. It's worth the money. And I'll throw this out. I'll throw a little pitch for Movie Pass because that's what I went and saw it with. $10 a month, 1 movie a day, unlimited movies. It's fantastic.
I hear that's starting to gain some traction, so let's hope they stay at the $10 mark, because I definitely, when we run out of TV shows to review, we're going to switch to movies, and I'm going to pick up Movie Pass as well.
Yeah, well,
not that we're being sponsored by them, goddammit. I wish we were.
Yeah, the $10 mark, it's locked in. That's
good.
The price. Like it won't adjust.
That's good. Well, I mean, but they could, it'd be like a Netflix thing where you see, it starts out this.
Well, yeah, like $1 here, $1 there. But I mean, even then, if they bumped it to 15, it's still worth it.
Yep. Well, good. Well, I'll switch gears just a little bit from horror to sci-fi, and I want to talk for about 5 minutes about The Orville, which is Seth MacFarlane's take on sci-fi, the episodic style sci-fi that we don't, according to him, and I agree with him, we currently don't have right now. We don't have a show that you can just drop in on an episode and it has a start, a middle, and an end, and it doesn't matter where you pick it up. There's not, it's things that were real common back in the 90s. You're talking the old Star Trek, you're talking the Star Trek Next Generation, and a good portion of the Voyager and DS9, but as we got further into and closer to the year 2000, like we started switching to these big long overarching storylines, which we all enjoy, and we like our shows that are 8, 10, 13 episode shows that you have to literally watch all of them because you can't just jump in the middle of them. I've lost numerous TV shows that way just by jumping in, like missing one because the DVR screwed up and been like, well, now I don't know what's going on and I can't find it anywhere, and now I'm just done with the show. Sorry.
Yeah,
But
well, hold on. I got a couple questions
Go ahead.
for you then. Is there any kind of arc with it? Like, maybe just like a little one where or is it literally just
well,
random shtick, random shtick, random shtick, like every episode? Like, we don't know what it's going to be about.
I mean, even the episodic series type things have a common tie throughout the series.
Yeah, but I mean, is the common tie just Orville? Like, or
the ship.
I don't know. Yeah, the ship. That's what I'm saying. Like, is that just kind of
I
where
think
it's all synced together?
There's only one episode out so far, so I couldn't tell you if anything from episode 2 drops.
But you're the type of guy that goes, I'm gonna watch this, and then you sit there and research the snot out of it.
So he has said on numerous interviews that I watched before doing the podcast about this is that it is episodic. So the characters are going to be all the same. They're going to be on the same ship, and it's going to be, but the overall plot of each episode is its own capsule. Like, you have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Nothing's going to, no cliffhangers. Nothing's going to carry over. Everything will be resolved at the end of the hour. When it comes to the monster of the day, that kind of thing. It's kind of,
nice.
The
that's cool.
Stuff we have now is like SVU, like cop shows have a lot of episodic stuff. SVU is a classic example. You have most of the time, unless you get the Dick Wolf way too early and you don't get to know what happens at the end. But most of the time you get, we all have come to loathe the Dick Wolf. You're like, oh, we don't even know what's going to happen now. But yeah. So now what I did want to bring up, because I was seeing because a lot of the reviews for the first episode, people were shitting on it because they were expecting Family Guy in space. They were expecting just like, I want to be pissing myself laughing for 60 straight minutes. Like, I want a new couch every week because I had to replace the cushions because I pissed myself for 60 minutes.
Terrible analogy.
That is a fantastic analogy. So, and every time he puts something to live action, whether it be Ted, whether it be A Million Ways to Die in the West, McFarlane Fox has been good to him, but Fox has also like keyholed him, and everybody thinks all he is this like straight funny all the time guy, and he's trying to be more with this. So the show has its funny moments, but they are trying to tell certain serious stories with this show, and they are not skimping on this for something that's Seth MacFarlane tied to it. They are not skimping on the CG. Like, they put some money, they put some budget into the shots, and I was like, this is like watching. And it kind of, I'm 37. It kind of harkened me back to watching The Next Generation back when I was in my 10, 12, 13, 14 years old in the early 90s. And watching reruns through my entire, teenage years. So it was, but it did have a lighter approach to certain things, and there is funny stuff about it, but it's not all funny. So if you're trying to tune in for it to be drop dead, just ball out laughing the whole time, you're not going to get it. But if you look and see what the whole picture is, it's actually, I think it's going to be a great show. And they've signed 13 episodes, so we'll see what happens with it. I don't know.
That's awesome. No, that's cool. I like watching shows sometimes that are just, here's your episode, now we're done, moving on.
Right. You can sit down, watch it, go. You're done. Like, I don't have to worry about remembering it. There's so many of our shows that I watched that, like, I have to go back and watch a recap of the last season because I have no clue what happened. Like, I'm like, that overarching story was so crazy that I don't even know what it is. So, anyways, let's break into what everybody tuned in for, what Miss Paulson tuned in for. Let's talk about episode 2 of American Horror Story Cult. So, okay, first things first. Thoughts on this episode, Corey?
I really didn't like the episode, to be honest with you. It was just, I don't know. It's like, it's something's missing so far in the show for me. And I don't know what it is, but I did get the distinct feeling that after episode 2, like, episode 3 is probably going to be that episode where you're like, oh my god, yes, why did I ever doubt anything you've ever done before? And, you know, we're probably going to get hit in the face with a great episode next episode. But yeah, this last one was just slow. It was boring. Sarah was flipping out all the time. And like
Allie was flipping out. Let's make sure.
Yes, okay, Allie was flipping out. Yes, let me be correct with that. But yeah, I'm all first name basis with her now. Like we're totally best friends. But I don't like. There's got to be more to it, right? Like she's losing her mind, and her kid's starting to lose his mind. It seems like, or is it real happening to him again? We're still kind of like, what's reality, what's not? But it's just slow. It was
feel
just
like
too slow for me.
I understand what you're saying, and you and I watch these shows differently since I'm the one that has to talk through the plot of it most of the time. Like I'm writing down stuff and ideas, and you're like bam, bam, bam. This is what I thought about it. I feel like they are so blatantly holding back what the reveal is that like that's why it seems boring to you, because whatever the reveal is, and we kind of talked about our ideas of it last week, and I have some more ideas about it this week from some of the things that people said that were like, let's hold the camera real still and make sure that you catch what this person said type thing. I was like, there is something that is so underlying that they want to make sure they don't they think they're hiding it so well. But I almost feel like it's right in front of us. So, you know,
what do you think it's right in front of us?
Well, last week I mentioned I feel like almost every character that we've been introduced to so far, up to and including maybe even her wife and the therapist, are part of this cult that already exists.
Okay, so like, you just think like this whole town is in on it, basically.
I feel like this is some sort of it's either a large ploy to break her of all of her phobias by literally scaring the shit out of her, up into the point of like her blowing away like somebody at her house at the end of the episode, or it's like, you know, on the bad side of that, just this entire cult. It's like, we're just going to fuck with this chick until she loses it for good. And there are people who are but that seems so outlandish that I think I'm reading too far into it. I don't know.
I think that everybody we've met in the show is in on it. Like I agree with you on that. I even the wife, I'm totally starting to think, because like there's just some stuff where you're going, I don't know, why did you do it that way? You know, like it.
Right. Why did you do that so deliberately?
Yeah. That's a good way to put it, because it was kind of like, I mean, that wasn't an accident.
Right. So, okay. So let's start in on the first scene. We literally pick up right where we left off last week. Allie's in bed. She hears a noise. You hear her whisper, "Did you hear that?" And she turns over, and it's the three-nosed clown sitting in her bed with her. She freaks out, heads downstairs. So my first question on my notes is, she is not a light screamer. So by the time she gets downstairs, you're telling me that house is so big that her wife didn't hear it?
I don't know, man. Have you seen that bedroom? You seen that bedroom they got? Because that's a fancy, swanky bedroom in this show.
Hey, look, I'm jealous of that soaking tub. Okay, I am. But I mean, even in large houses, it's dead at night. There's not like there was a TV on. It's not like she had her headphones in. She was just down on the first floor, texting the other members of the cult to go ahead and get in her bed, and I'll be waiting for her when she gets down here. That's, back at my conspiracy theory. Because she was so nonchalant, but then all of a sudden, she suddenly believes her. We're gonna call the police. Oz is upstairs. I'll grab a knife and we're gonna go clear the room. And it almost reminded me of when your kids want you to clear their room before it's bedtime, check under the bed, check in the closet, make sure there's no monsters. And, and then she, at the end of finding nothing, of course, because, there's either nothing there or whoever it is has already snuck out. The Ivy goes into the fact that she's like, I can't take this hardly anymore. So she's making it so she's on the verge of leaving her. And Allie, of course, also is like, she thinks she's losing her mind. She doesn't know what's real.
Yeah, she's definitely struggling with
reality.
her reality and what's going on and what's not, and the paranoia that's running through her mind is got her doing some pretty crazy stuff already.
Right.
Already, and I think this is just like the beginning. It's gonna get really ramped up.
Downward spiral, just gonna go nuts.
Yeah. Yes, that is absolutely true.
Go ahead.
I just was gonna say, I don't think that I don't think what we think is gonna happen though. Like, I think we're all expecting her to have some like crazy mental breakdown. You know what I'm saying? Like, she already is, but I think there's gonna be this weird swing with like her and Oz, and something's gonna click.
Right. Hey, we mentioned it, we mentioned it last night. We hope that she becomes a badass by the end of this season and is kicking everybody's ass.
yeah, or at least a disruptive force in what's going against her,
Well, yeah, and to quote one of Miss Paulson's tweets that I was reading through last night, she mentions later on in the episode, when she's in the meat locker, she hears the noise of the meat locker and she goes in there, and all of us horror tropes know you don't go in there when you hear the noise, just get out. Like, Ms. Paulson said that maybe it was that she was already trying to face her. She's trying to, the fact that she went to the restaurant anyways, the fact that she, investigated the noises because she understands that she's trying to get past her fears.
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying. I think like her and Oz are going to have some kind of clicking moment, because right now it's like he's on the outs with his mom.
He does not like that mom. Correct.
Yeah,
I've made that note numerous times. That happens numerous times this episode, and I noted it down. So same scene. The girls are trying to get a little spice going, and of course, the kid messes it up, which we know that's a piece of cake. that happens all the time.
Children are just born with that in their DNA. They can.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're trying to do something?
Yeah, they can smell it. It's like some kind of alarm goes off in them.
So, yeah. And so he's having a nightmare or night terror. Do you know is there a difference, or is that the new word for nightmare?
No. There is a full-blown difference. A nightmare, a nightmare is like a scary dream, right? Like I don't know, just me. It would like be me if I had a dream about clowns. Okay? But a night terror is like, it's almost like you get caught in like a sleep paralysis, like and it is so real to you that you can actually end up having like damage to the outside of your body because you're flailing so hard in the dream or something like that, and it's very hard to wake. You're stuck in it. That's what makes it really terrifying.
Well, that makes sense, because he has to, at the end of it, he can't tell whether or not he's
and that's
trying to figure out.
Yeah, and that's the problem, because it seems so real that it really blurs like what just happened to me.
Okay, and then that's the first time where he shrugs off Allie for Ivy as mom. Like, no, I want mom.
Yep.
Which is that's gotta sting. That's gotta sting hard. Here's the first part of do we know if like the night terror / whatever mental problem she has, it could be transferable? Do we think that she could be, physical mom, like she carried him, like it's her, like he's hers biologically? Allie's, not Ivy's, but Allie's.
I don't know, because they touched that in the show yet? Do we know that? Because I want to feel like they probably did, and I missed it.
Winter asked if he knew. Last episode, Winter asked if he knew which was his real mom, meaning who carried him.
Yeah.
But he didn't. He just said, "No, I've been told to say that all families are special."
yeah, that's right.
So we don't know. But the fact that he's having these night terrors, and later on, throughout the whole episode, we still have to question everything that she sees, whether or not it's actually there or not.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't think... So, again, when she sees stuff, I don't think it's real. When Oz sees stuff, that is most certainly real.
Right. Especially the clown that tells you, no, you're asleep. Like, oh, God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. So that was the first scene. We move on to some news footage. We see that the neighbors that we find out are moving in across the street in the Chang's house that is now vacant because they got brutally murdered. They're the ones that took the video of Kai getting beat down. And like we said last week after seeing the trailer for this week, he's running for Mr. Chang's spot on the council. And, you know, he's already starting to drum up. He's filled out his paperwork. He's ready to run for this spot and run it on that, you know, the fear.
Yeah, he's definitely going to have a campaign built on fear.
Exactly.
And I think and he'll mask it, you know, kind of like he did.
Kind of. His main scene this episode at the end at her house, I thought he was fantastic.
Yeah, dude, he was pot. Like, I was sitting there going, man, that guy would have got shot if that was my house. Like, you don't touch my brand new metal gate I just installed like that and get all creepy and put your face right in the hole. Like, nope.
Right. Yep, we'll get there because I have a lot to. That was a great scene. So Allie sneaks across to kind of, I mean, in the broad daylight, like sneaks across to go because she sees them loading these blue barrels off this truck and into their garage. The husband's walking around in a friggin' hazmat suit. I mean, what are we talking about here? I mean, we find out later.
Yeah, was that was that a hazmat suit or was that just like some souped up beekeeper suit? Because I feel like it was a little overboard for what's going on.
Yeah, it may not be hazmat, but it's definitely not just a beekeeper suit. So I'm still, you know, my question here on my notes is what's in the barrels? Mm-hmm. Like Brad Pitt style, like what's in the box? Like what's in the barrels? But so he catches her, whatever. So she flees. Then we get this scene in the restaurant with random ginger who's angry at everybody. Like I looked in the casting on IMDb, and this guy's name is Roger, and he was apparently in the last episode, in episode 1, but I don't remember seeing him. He didn't stand out. So all of a sudden we have this like major tension moment, like Ivy's not going to be here, so I'm in charge. We're going to speak English, and shut the fuck up, Pedro. And I'm like, what the?
Yeah, dude, but that is, you got to remember of what just happened though. So that video of Kai getting his ass kicked, every white person in that town has seen it, and he's working with a bunch of Spanish dudes. And he's probably already.
I thought he was being a little racist when he. I thought he was being racist when he called him Pedro until we found out his name is actually really Pedro.
I was like, yeah, dude, that would. I got nothing for that. All I can do is laugh.
No, yeah, it was just. I found it. I chuckled. I was like, oh, that really sucks that your name's really Pedro. And. The coolest line that Allie says in that is like, Roger goes, "You need to fire him," and she goes, "I'm not about to fire an immigrant in this climate." I was like, "Oh, yeah. Dude, like, you know." And then later on, you talk about like how nice the guy is and like how he's been with your company, and that's the answer when the guy's like, "You're gonna." Why? That's what you come up with when you why you're not gonna fire him.
Yeah, but you got to remember though, like she's not at the shop very often. Like she
not
doesn't...
right now. She's not.
Yeah,
one of them has to work.
Yeah, that was also very blatantly pointed out. Right.
So yeah, so that's I just found that to be a very because I didn't quite catch what she said that when I first watched it when I rewatched the episode. I had closed captions on. I was like, oh really? That's where you went with the guy's problem? Like the guy's just a dick. He's just that guy that's running a kitchen. That
guy got like. He went from 0 to like 12 on a 10-point scale immediately. But by the way, dude, let's talk about. Hold on, let's go back to that scene real quick, and let's talk about this guy talking shit with a ladle in his hand versus a crew of what we can all assume are the same race. With knives in their hands, like, and you're over there just talking shit about a whole generalized group of people with a ladle in your hand. Not the smartest move.
Right, yeah. Don't think that what happens later on in the episode wasn't well deserved the way you behaved that night. It may not be legal, but you should not be surprised it happened to you, sir.
Yes.
So, yeah, and I mean, threatening to shove a ladle up somebody's ass, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, dude, those are fighting words.
Yeah, I gotta stand up for that, because it's like, I'm sorry, you're gonna put a ladle? Like, that's not even, I'm trying to figure out how that's mentally gonna happen.
Yeah, my mind doesn't comprehend this.
Right. So we switch back to Allie and Ivy's house, getting off of ladles and asses. We're gonna move on. Oz gets home from, okay, real quick. Actually, I have it written here. Okay, so I'll get to that in a second. So he comes home from school with Winter has apparently picked him up.
Yep.
And he's just being a dick to her. I'm guessing showing him all those people getting murdered last episode, kind of soured him on her a little bit.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's not as nearly like, oh, this is my cool nanny. He's like, nah, man, I gotta stay away from this person.
Like, she is freaky. Yeah. So she gets him the creepy, Twisty the Clown as like a peace offering. Don't tell your moms. Here's a freaky ass clown.
Yeah, seriously.
And so then we bring in the whole pinky swear game again that we first saw Kai do with Winter at their house. She quizzes them on the people across the street and if he's really scared from them, that kind of thing. And then we switch to Allie and Ivy coming home, and no one's home, and they're hollering for Oz. And we learn that his real name is his full name is Ozymandias, which I just love. That's his actual name. Like, his name isn't Oz or Oswald. Like, it's Ozymandias, which is not only the name of one of the characters in The Watchmen. He's also the Greek name for Ramses II from Egypt. I was just like, what a great name.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
That is a cool name. That is a cool name.
So they find Winter comes in, tells him that he's over across the street playing with the neighbors. So he just leaves him there to go get him a jacket. And so they run over. They hear screams, and they're running back, and they're playing with bees. Which, okay, I'm not doing that at all. So
yeah, I like how I mean, the beekeeper guy's like in his suit. And I get it, like you said, if they're busy and they have a job, like, they're not going to mess with you. But still, like, I feel as a beekeeper, he wouldn't be just letting that little kid, like, walk around all nonchalantly back there.
Right. Hey, Dick, you're wearing protection, but no one else around here is.
Yeah.
But they're fine, and when they have something to do. Oh, hey, we get a dolly zoom. We got a dolly zoom this episode when she sees the honeycomb.
Yep.
And she sees the holes that Cinder does. We got only one dolly zoom this episode, so I was really nice. I was really happy to see it. In fact, we probably should do a drinking game, like, for the rest of the. Anytime there's a dolly zoom, we should just chug. That's just what we should do.
Yeah, it'll be.
So
and you know what? We'll decide to do that on the one episode when all hell breaks loose. I'm like, I didn't even finish it, man. I passed out halfway through.
Right, here's our review of 2/3 of the episode, because we don't know what happened in the last third.
Yeah. Someone fill me in, please.
Yeah, we need a special guest star who didn't drink during the podcast to just tell us what happened. So they dropped some weird stuff about the Changs not being the owners of the homes, that they were renters. And it was kind of funny that it kind of turned the girls against them a little bit. Like, they were like, "Oh, we didn't know they were renters." Like, it's some sort of like they're like lepers or something. It's like, okay, they're just rented. Give it a break. But there's something to do with that, because we're pretty sure that this couple is part of the cult. And so, who owned the house? There's got to be this giant. I just can't wait for the episode, because it's going to take 45 minutes of a 55-minute episode to explain all of this. They're not telling us.
That's the thing that American Horror Story does not do. Like, they leave stuff open-ended. They just don't care. Like,
that's just lazy.
No. Because I think some of that stuff, it's like, if you knew all the details, it's like knowing Santa's real, man. It ruins the magic. Like, I think because you don't know that, it lets your brain go, God, I want to know. But you know what? they're starting to tie stuff in. I'll watch next season. I'll watch next episode.
Right. You want to know what really sucks is if someone's actually listening to this in the car with their kids, and you literally just blew Santa for some kids right now. I just want you to know that.
Well, and you dropped an F-bomb earlier, so you know what? They shouldn't be. They shouldn't be.
Now we're judging.
Yeah,
now we're
judging. They shouldn't be in the car. If you're gonna tell me I just ruined some poor child.
Okay, well, I'll watch our listens drop from that. That's fine. I did take the time to write down his entire speech about the hives because I thought it was pretty cool because he pretty much described the mentality of a cult, and I want to read this out. I want to read this to you, and I want you to kind of feed off it. What he said was, a hive is the perfect natural community because every single member of the hive is completely committed, 100% to a singular task. There's no arguments, there's no complaints, there's no me. He said, I admire them. And, you know, he's talking about the beehive, but we know he's talking about the cult that either, you know, the cult that we think exists right now because the show's titled Cult.
Yeah, watch. There's no cult, none whatsoever.
That's the kicker.
What
cult? Just drop it.
There's your open-ended. No, we just used it in the title, guys. That's all.
Right, and so we find out that they are that the guy and the girl are he's her GBF, and they got married after they both weren't married at 35. And then as they start trying to question the girls on like their background, they freak out or Allie freaks out and goes to leave. So we see that the
she's been kind of slowly breaking down the whole time in that after seeing the honeycomb. Like she's like just as you said, like she's trying
holding on.
Yeah, she's trying to face her fears and hold on, and like she's struggling. She's struggling hard.
Hardcore, right? Exactly. And so we see as they're leaving that like there's still the blood stain in the floorboards. There's still the blood face is like the blood smiley face is still painted on, is like been tried to be painted over, but not well enough to do anything.
It's like a cleaning crew never would have came from a murder house. Like that stuff wouldn't be there.
Exactly, it wouldn't be there. And so once again, you know, everybody's tied into it. They want to leave this stuff here. They want to leave these remnants here for her to see because they want to freak her out. So, who knows? We will find out as the season goes on. I
will say the more in talking about this, like the more I am actually gone from disliking episode 2 to, I'm not going to say I would throw a parade for it, but I'm like, okay, you know what? You were slow because you're giving me all the information I need for my brain to comprehend what's about to happen.
There you go. It's like a talkie episode of Game of Thrones, man. We've been through these.
Yeah, they get slow,
but they give you a lot of information. So we move on. Later that evening, the girls are gossiping, but they're doing what every married couple does, and that's talk shit about their neighbors. They're like, why doesn't this freak you out? You know, and then Oz comes in and says he can't sleep. He doesn't want to sleep in his room. And then Ivy gets a message on her phone that the alarm at the restaurant's going off. And you can tell that when Ivy says she's going to go, this is another time that Oz is like, I don't want to stay with this mommy. Like, I don't. And
yeah.
It's sad to see. So you see her recognize this because she's such a fantastic actress. You could see it. She doesn't say anything for us to see how well, I recognize he doesn't want me to be here or stay with me.
Yeah, she did a really good job of being that parent that the child just hurt your feelings, but you got to keep your crap together because you're the parent. And they're not allowed to like see you
can't
like
let
that.
Them see your weakness.
Yeah, but yeah, no, she that was kind of like a dagger to the heart, but it also, I think it also gave her the motivation to go, you know what, like I gotta get over this stuff. I gotta get over this. I can be better.
Right. So she volunteers, of course, to go to the restaurant to kill the alarm. That's apparently on the fritz, which I'm guessing is why the cops hadn't already showed up, because apparently it must go off all the time. Even though this is the first time they're bringing it up in, I don't know, 3 or 4 nights that we've been through in this house since the season started. So, I don't know. Part of that was, someone's going to respond, especially if, we don't see Ivy get the call from the everybody who's got home alarms knows when the alarm goes off, especially for as long as it was going off for, that you've gotten a call from your monitoring company.
Yeah, that was my other thing. Like, it doesn't matter if your alarm's faulty or not. If you have an alarm system, like, the police are gonna be there,
Right.
Like,
and if your alarm is faulty and it's been going off for, I think she said weeks or months when she mentioned it on the phone, that the cops are still going to come and they're going to charge you, and that's when you get it fixed, because they're going to if they keep doing false calls, you're going to start getting charged for them.
Yep.
And it's like, so this whole part of this scene, I understand the setup and the need for it by the writers, but it's like not realistic unless the whole town's in on it.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, dude, I think you're right, man. Like, and the more I keep going over it, like, this whole town is in it. Is everybody is in this thing, and it's kind of creepy.
Right? And and the question would be, why is it all focused on Allie? Because she is literally it's Allie, and I mean the Oz is definitely not in on it. The Changs were not in on it because they're dead, unless they're committed members of the cult who knew they had to die there. Who knows? I don't know. It's crazy. Like I said, when the reveal happens, our episode is going to be us like flipping tables the entire time. It's just So Sarah heads to the restaurant. She cancels the alarm, which is literally in the farthest goddamn corner of the restaurant. Like, that's where you put the panel. Like, are you shitting me? She hears a noise, so she goes to head out. She hears a noise in the freezer, and we went over this earlier. So she goes to inspect it. And, sees the pool of blood. We turn around. She screams. She finds the frozen asshole in the thing. And it cuts to commercial. We don't know anything else until later on.
Yeah, I feel like in that giant meat locker, you're going to notice a dead body around a pig carcass or something like that,
Right, when you walk in, exactly. He's not going to show up, which is why I was like, is this real? Until they start talking about, like, the police talking to her later. And I was like, well, crap, okay. And another thing, and this is only because Ivy mentions it later on, like, they had to throw away everything in that freezer. There's no way you're walking in the normal section of the restaurant and there's a door open to the freezer that you can hear into.
Oh, yeah.
Not a freezer that's frozen enough to, like, cause frozen ice on a human who's hanging there. So you're not hearing anything. Like, I just don't. It's sloppy. It's sloppy writing. I'm just saying. It's just sloppy. I'm just armchair quarterbacking it. Okay.
Yeah, no, man, I agree. Like, it was definitely, I don't know. Like, it's just some of the stuff just doesn't make sense. Like, and I guess I don't know, and I don't know if part of that is because we're supposed to be confused.
That's and very true. And I will eat my hat at the end of this if we've been fooled so well that we're talking about stuff that's just we're not even on the right train.
Oh yeah, I'd love to go back and like listen to this and be like, oh man, dude, that was bad.
We're so stupid. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That'll happen. That's happened before. Game of all the
Seriously.
there's listen, go back and listen. Everyone listening now, go back and listen to the early episodes of the season 7 Game of Thrones review and see how many of my ideas that were completely wrong.
I'm telling
I'm
you,
not even watching the same show as those guys.
So what do we got? What do we got going on?
What are we next?
Yeah,
okay. So
where's that take us?
We came back from commercial break and she is barring the windows. She is getting all the window security installed at the house. And then Ivy very, very non-subtly like, oh look, your therapist was in the neighborhood.
Well,
we learned it.
Yeah, I like how she was like, I can't believe you did that to me, and I love how nonchalant she was. Like, oh hey, look who I saw.
Hey, look who was walking around when I called him to come over here and talk to you because you haven't been to a therapy session in like a month.
Yeah, seriously.
Look who's here. We find out she's missing appointments. We also find out that she tried to help frozen asshole guy because he wasn't all the way dead and ended up sinking the hook for the kill. Like,
Yep.
I was like, oh, that's hard. That's hard to listen to. That's hard to watch again.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, man. And then let's see. We learn she tried to kill him. And we also see a flashback, and it's the same, like that same white-haired investigator, the cop that talks to them, who's just, his disdain for them is physically touchable in that scene.
Yeah,
like,
dude,
he
it
fucking
is
hates them.
palpable. Yeah.
According to your wife, like he pretty much just like goes like when he says.
Yeah, dude, that like and they do this season. They're doing a really, really good job of showing subtle, like hatred, and then they also do it with this full blown swing at the same time, where you're kind of like almost taken aback because you're like, who talks like that? Who does that? And
Right.
and I think you're kind of starting to realize that they're showing what people are thinking.
People are unfiltered, not just not getting to right.
Yeah,
makes sense. Very true. Yeah, we're definitely getting some unfiltered versions of what people are thinking about this kind of stuff.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Maybe they're new members of the cult who think they can just go all crazy and just say whatever they want to.
Or maybe that's their job. They're like, you got to be a psycho, man.
Right. You are super racist guy. That's your job. She also, Allie also mentions that she feels vindicated, because her phobias were a perfect reaction to what she instinctively knew was wrong. And that's the whole world is like fucked right now.
Yes.
You know, since Trump is president. And she's willing to protect her family.
Yeah. I like how like her realization was, I knew all my crazy was correct because the world is now crazy. Like, that's kind of a broad general assumption to like back up your craziness, don't you think?
I mean, yeah. I mean, very true. She's definitely trying to grasp for any straw that will fit her situation when it comes to how she's feeling with everything that's going on. So we move on from there. We find out that she went to the creepy neighbors to get to borrow a gun. And I'm only going to bring this up for a minute because he talks about it. It gets mentioned later. The first drawer he pulls open, the neighbor pulls open, has a German Luger pistol in it.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that was infamously carried by the Nazis, so on and so forth. So I think that will come in later, or at least I think there's this slight, you know, when we're talking everything racist, everything fucked up, Nazis always pretty much come to mind for a lot of people. And there's something that's said later on that I think also like hits the nail on the head. So we learn she gets the gun. The therapist decides not to tell her wife that she has it, and yeah,
I like his response to the wife where he was like, I'm gonna make the face so you know there's something going on, but I like how he's like, yeah, good for now. This is all I can tell you right now. This is all I can tell you. This is as much as I can give you. Like that has to be so infuriating. So infuriating to hear something like that and just have to accept it, you know?
Agreed. We move on to the same scene-ish kind of is when Kai comes knocking at her door when she's home alone, and she pulls a knife, you know, because she's by herself, and goes to the door, and he starts with his, you know, charming speech about running and everything that's going on, and then it takes a turn. It takes a turn real quick, or you know, after they get done with the pleasantries, and he realizes that she is not seeing things his way or whatever's going on, and he starts to get a little bit frustrated. He starts talking about his humiliation again since the beating, and he actually says, "This is what I was talking about with the Luger." He says, "You need to give a humiliated man some way to redeem himself in his own eyes, or he's at risk of being drawn into the darkness."
Yep.
Like Germany after World War One.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, man. So it's just like they have these little pings here and there that I feel like are like we have this whole underlying Nazi thing that's going to be this. I don't know.
I don't
It
think
just
it's.
seems-
I don't think it's going to be. Well, I mean, maybe, but it's. A lot of people now are saying, with that, the hatred and the movement and the way the things are going in real life, like Nazis and white supremacists, they all have a voice now, and like they shouldn't at all.
Agreed, and you're right. They do. They definitely have a voice.
And
now,
this show,
or at least-
and this show is doing a good job where you can see people who buy into that propaganda because like he was already quoting stuff from Germany, and bringing up those facts, like those, and it got nothing to do with what's going on right now, but that's where he's gonna pull his train of thoughts from to push his idea across,
Right. Right. And his speech as it gets darker, she gives a long little monologue about, I don't want to shut people out, I want to build bridges. As you're talking to a guy through a gated and locked, like, barred window, like, door.
Yeah, well, he called her out on that,
He did. He said, yeah, he's like, he's like, what's that behind your back? And are you gonna melt these bars to build a bridge? He gets up in her face, and like just what he does, like the emotion he does in that scene, like where he's grabbing the bars and like, it's really bad when it's turned on you. That was just, it was a fantastic little section of it.
Oh yeah, no, he brought so much one-on-one terror in that scene that it was fantastic. It was really, really good.
Yeah, very much. And then I even love where he rolls through like all the lines that because of police reports in the real world that people use during like push-in invasions. Can I use your phone? Can I use your bathroom? My car, I've had I'm injured. All those things he rolled through, like in those, those were all like things people have said in the past to get into folks' houses to do harm to them. And I thought that it was just so creepy. It was fantastic. It was great. It was great.
Yeah, no, like like after that scene was over, I just remember thinking, I have a metal gate like that. I would be terrified if someone was like grabbing it and shaking and then still speaking in a low tone but aggressive like that. Nope. Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. Not up my things I would like to experience in my life.
Exactly. So we move on from there. We get a quick scene with Ivy and Pedro talking in the restaurant. We find out he's been interviewed by the cops because of dead assholes murder, or so nothing really major in the scene. Just them. He's like, I'm scared to be brown these days, and talking about how this show is holding a mirror up to society and where we are right now. I mean, it's just one of those things that that scene pretty much was there for him to say that one line. So, it is what it is. It's just one of those things. But that was a real short scene.
Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot going on there.
So we move on to we're almost to the end of the episode. We have this is the last major scene. We are at Allie and Ivy's home again. Oz is in bed. Winter's putting him down as opposed to Mommy, to Allie, who's home. We find out that Allie's the only one home. Ivy's at the restaurant. Let's see. She's, Winter is like, she's like the queen of like the jump scare. Like she's always just like coming out of nowhere, like putting her hand on her shoulder, or freaking her out. Or whatever. So we know that, she's really messing with her. We understand that. So Allie's staring at her pills and she doesn't want to take them, and Winter suggests some red wine in a bath. So Allie's like, okay, that sounds great. Winter runs her the water. She takes off her top because it's getting steamy in there. At least takes off the sweater she was wearing to reveal like the nice crop top thing that she's wearing.
Yes.
And then we see Allie in the bath, and this is where I think one of the times where it's not really happening. Do you think the scene with Winter really happens here, or do you think she fell asleep and it's like one of her dream awake states?
No, I think it really happened because she woke up during that scene, and Winter was still there.
Yeah, true. Yeah, there and there.
Yeah. Yeah, she's trying to be a little home wrecker.
Yeah, tell me about it. So you're right, and there was this part where she startled awake while Winter was there, and Winter was still there. So it was one of those. I'm questioning everything I see now when I watch this show. Is she here? Is she not? Is what I'm seeing real, or is it Allie's imagination? That kind of stuff.
Yeah, dude, so it's very hard right now to keep up with the line of what's reality and what's not, and who's friend, who's foe. Like, they're doing a really, really good job of just kind of like, all I can think of is I'm in the middle of a tornado, and all I do is get glimpses of a little bit of information, and I'm trying to put it all together.
So then the alarm goes off, and in the middle of all the bathtub fun. And then the alarm goes off for literally like 4 seconds, and then the power and everything gets cut. Which, let me tell you what, in that situation, in a red-blooded American's house, I'm heading to my safe first thing. Like, everybody sit in that closet. I'm coming back with guns because some shit is going down if like everything is powered out. Like, that's crazy. So they immediately run for candles. Because they're on the left. There's no, we don't go for our gun that we've already borrowed from the neighbor. We go first for the candles. And then we get, okay, so American Horror Story is not known for its humor. There's moments of jovialness and some jokes here and there. But let me tell you what, lesbians were under attack. Like, that part, like, I've almost fell off the couch like laughing at that dude, because that was the best shit I've ever heard. I was like, are you kidding me? Is that where you went with it?
That's awesome.
So he gives this immaculate, it could be ISIS, it could be Russia, it could be this, that, and the other, and just goes down this whole list of like, just here, fear is what he really did. And and this is where I swear to God the whole town's in on it. Because you have an entire section. So somebody at the power company is also in the cult, and he cuts the power for that large chunk of the town. That's what we're talking about. That's how deep this is going. I swear to God. I swear that's where we're going with this.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's starting to look more and more like that.
Right. And then Winter, like, she just bails. She's like, I'm out. Like, I'm leaving. Like, you heard that guy? Like, I've got my laptop and my ceramics at my mom's house. Like, I got to get my shit. That's all I got. So she just leaves on her. But as she leaves, she tells Allie, she looks at her, she goes, it's not always about you. And they made a point to like stop everything that was going on and focus in on her saying that. So.
Oh yeah. And.
I feel like I feel like that she's part of this cult, and she's one of the members who's like, oh, I don't want to be doing this anymore. And she knows that this entire cult's focus is all on her. And like, this is literally her saying, it's not always about you. It's the only type of rebellion she has against like the entity that she's involved in. The way that she said it, it's not always about you, because everything about this cult is about getting at Allie.
Yeah. No, that's true, man. Like, it was a good call out, and it was kind of a thinking moment.
Right.
Like, where you went, wait a minute, there was a little more to that. What are you talking about? Come on, give me a little more detail.
You said that way too much right into the camera. Right.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to know that you said that.
Yeah,
right,
where's
right.
where's the cue card? I want just show it to me at this point. Just let me read it.
Right, exactly. Just tell me, just leak the script so I know what's going on, so I can enjoy this the way I should.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
right.
I don't want to think.
Winter
I just
bails.
want to watch.
Right. So Winter bails. She calls Ivy, freaking out. Ivy tells her that the power across all of town. So they make it a point to tell us that it's not just a singular focused attack on Allie. It's the attack is so widespread and the cult is so deep in this town that the entire half of the city's power is out.
Yeah, or was that just her, like them saying that so she doesn't like suspect too much? I mean, you can take out a block or two and not be able to see lights, around.
And it's things like this that makes me think her wife is in on it as well. It's stuff like this where she sends Pedro, who is notably not part of the cult. We're pretty dang sure if they're setting him up for murder or whatever, that he's not part of the cult. So there are members of this town who aren't part. So she blatantly sends him on purpose with a box, so he's definitely not, a box of a charger that she's suddenly has, I'm guessing it was a brick charger because there's no power. So I'm guessing, she randomly had a brick charger just laying around a building full of power outlets. I mean, some of these things are so blatant that it's like, okay, I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
I totally Pedro with random tea candles off the table and a charger block. Allie's going through the house. She sees the ice cream truck from the murders. That we know what the ice cream truck means. It means the clowns are coming. Got that, yes. Corey? So when you see the ice cream truck, you know it's coming for you.
I will never go to an ice cream truck again now. Ice cream trucks have just been ruined for me.
Let me be really old for a minute. That shit is expensive now. Like my favoriteest thing off an ice cream truck is a chocolate chip cookie with the ice cream with it rolled in the chocolate chips. It used to be $1. My dumbass, in my late 20s, went out to an ice cream truck with $1, and the dude was like, no, it's like $3.50. I was like, what the fuck? What is this? $3.50? Have you looked at what's in this package?
Inflation, brother. Inflation.
Right. So just saying, you can never ruin ice cream trucks for my fat ass. But I just don't. I'm just too stingy with my dollars. So I'm not. If I can't get $1, I'm not doing it. So Allie's going through the house. She's trying to, the power's out. She's trying to mess with the pad. She goes on. I don't know. She goes under the stairs for whatever, and she turns around with her wax candle that the neighbor gave her, and one of the clowns is standing there and blows it out. She freaks out, but then all of a sudden he's gone. I almost feel like the candle he gave her had hallucinogen in the wax. Who knows? I don't even know anymore. I'm just grasping for straws.
Yeah, man.
What's real anymore?
You were pulling some crazy stuff out of here.
And even okay, so the clown. So when she freaks out from that guy blowing her candle out, and she runs upstairs, what was the girl clown at the top of the stairs drinking that night? Because it was the most nonchalant, I'm gonna stab at you, fall over the edge of the balcony. What are you you didn't even try. What's wrong? I don't understand what happened there. So I laughed out loud literally because I was like, that was the dumbest fall. Oh no, I'm trying to get you off. So, all this stuff has to be explained to me at some point, or I'm going to literally lose sleep the end of this season.
You're going to be in for a rude awakening.
So she grabs Ozzy. She grabs her gun. She's freaking him out. They head out to go out the back door. She, does a dramatic pause at the end to be like, when you run out this door, you just run. And she opens the door, and there's poor Pedro with his fucking brick charger and some tea candles, and he takes one in the shoulder. And he goes down, and the episode ends. Cut to black. I was like, poor Pedro. I was like, that. You got set up so bad, bro.
Had a rough fucking 2 days.
Right. So That was episode 2. And I'm glad in our conversation over the last hour that I convinced you that it's not what you originally thought it was when we talked last night. And
I was none
what
too
fired
ha-
you
I
up
was
towards Miss Paulson last
none
night.
Too happy. Well, it's just, I don't know. I don't know what my problem is. I just got problems. That's all there is to it.
I will vouch for that for all of you who don't know him.
Yeah. Yesterday was just a day for me to be negative, I guess, you know?
Yeah, Tuesdays is a bad day for you to have TV shows to watch.
Yeah, came back around on it. Came back around to it.
Well, I'm glad I could be of service. So real quick, I kind of pause play on the next on, like the trailer for next episode.
Mm-hmm.
So we see a blonde lady and her husband get shoved into coffins in their house. I paused on a lady's face. I don't know who she is. Like, she's just, they show us this scene because it's creepy, but I don't know who this character is. I'm guessing we're gonna find out. Maybe. I mean, like you said, sometimes they just don't tell us. Then we cut to Allie and Ivy, like, happy, like celebrating almost, and I was like, well, that makes sense because I think she shot Pedro in the shoulder, so I'm pretty sure Pedro's not dead. You know.
Yeah. No. I mean, if they come back next episode and say he's dead, I'll be writing a letter to American Horror Story and be like, when does a shoulder shot kill somebody?
Right. Exactly. And when do you get to be that happy in the next episode?
Yeah.
So, you know, I would expect them to be a little more somber if he had died. So Oz sees the smiley faces drawn on their door. We see him run in the house. The girls follow him quickly, and whatever he sees, they shield his eyes from. So it's some sort of horror.
Yep.
No pun intended.
Something big time.
Something big time. Then we cut to like seeing police cars and stuff like that. So I'm sure, and that we see body bags. Like, I thought I saw plural, or at least it was the shot of the same one twice. Who knows?
Yeah, could be.
So someone gets killed in their home. I don't know. Which would be even worse. Okay, and this is where what would be even worse is if she wakes up, like the next episode, she wakes up in the bathtub. Like, from that point on was a dream.
Oh, you're saying it was a
like
dream?
If you dream me fucking 15 minutes of action and terror, fuck you. Fuck you. Like, just give me the shit for real. Like, so that would be the other reason why they would be happy. You know?
Yeah.
Because nothing really
it wasn't
happened.
Real.
And right. So if we wake up, you're gonna have a hard time getting me back from that episode. If she wakes up in the bathtub next episode, nope. So there's the rest of the stuff on the quick trailer, we see she pulls the mask off of some mask guy, and he has the smiley face mask on beneath of it. So we know this is some sort of, like, I don't know, it's like the sign of this cult. I have no clue. But we see the smiley face on a guy as opposed to just on like where they've drawn it.
Yeah.
And then the last portion of the trailer is Kai playing the Peaky Swear game with creepy wife from across the street. So
okay.
We don't know. There wasn't a whole bunch that we could hear what they were saying, or that I paid the fuck attention to. I don't know.
And in the scene, because I don't watch the tail end pieces.
I know you don't.
Was Kai going door to door, or was this like it looked like?
No, they were in like his house, like in the basement.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I mean, we know they're part of this stuff anyways, just because of the way they've been acting, and we know they're part of it. So I'm guessing we're about to see. We have yet to see the cult like meet, but we have seen, you know, the guys in the blue, the light blue with the dark blue trousers with the guns. Like we do later on, we'll see the formation or the reveal of the cult, because we have, you know, so it's coming. I don't know when,
yes.
but we've
I
seen.
think it's
going
to
to
happen next episode.
I hope so, because like you said, it wasn't slow, but they were giving us a lot of information while not giving us any information.
Yeah, they were giving us a lot of misdirection going on.
Right. Here's all the information you need, minus every single tiny detail that would make it make sense.
Yes.
So next episode, it better be shining some light in all the dark crevices that you gave us in all this information this week. So, so that wraps up our recap and review of episode 2 of season 7, American Horror Story Cult. We want to Remind you guys to go to twodadsreview.com. Leave reviews where you can, wherever you listen to our podcast at. Hit us up on Twitter. We're like famous now, I guess. I mean,
Twitter famous.
Twitter famous for like 5 seconds. And we just, every time we do this podcast, Corey and I have a great time doing this show.
Yeah, this really does make us happy, guys, and we really, really do enjoy it. And we're always going to tell you to plug it to other people, but we're going to keep doing this either way because it's a lot of fun, and we really hope that you guys push it because we really do think that it's fun, and I think more people that listen to it and realize that we're having a good time will start to enjoy themselves and the show, and we'll have a nice big community.
I couldn't say it better myself. So, yeah, hit us up on Twitter, Two Dads Review, Facebook if you feel like going old school. Yeah, and, we'll see you next week for episode 3 that we hope shines a lot of light on it. I'll make sure that we're trying to, tune into our Twitter. We'll try to talk about, the episode as it goes, see what happens. We're trying to stay real, like, I gotta get more information. I'm losing it now. I gotta get more information.
Yeah, man, you gotta stop talking about it.
It's killing me. Like I said, I'm not sure if I'm just watching it like I watch Game of Thrones, or if I'm reading too far into stuff. I hope I'm not. I hope it's this crazy plot that we're just gonna get as we go on.
I think that's what's gonna happen. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised and justified that everything you wanted.
I hope so. So yeah. So tune in next week. We drop the podcast about every Thursday or Friday, depending on when we get a chance to watch it. Also remember, for all of you who are horror fans and sci-fi fans, this podcast will probably double in length starting after the 24th of September, because we're going to be doing Star Trek Discovery along with a recap of American Horror Story until that season finishes out. So, we're gonna have some big old long podcasts for y'all.
And try to keep you guys entertained.
That's right. Everybody who's listen to us on your commute, listen to us while you're working out. It's a way to do it. We're good in long chunks.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, we want to thank everybody, and we will quit talking.
Yep, we're gonna wrap this up, guys.
To your time.
Take care. Enjoy.
All right. We'll talk to you later.